This is Information Morning. Welcome back. I'm Portia Clark. Good morning. It's Thursday, January 16th. Coming right up, with a movement brewing to keep cell phones out of the hands of children until high school, we'll hear from a parent who works in tech about why she's on board.
I think kids need to be able to have a childhood without the need of this device. And if we just start with your own small community and start to make some change there, less people will have them and be less pressure to actually have to give them one.
And some nonprofit groups in our province are wondering whether to ditch Facebook and Instagram, how they're looking at their options after Meta decided to get rid of its third-party fact-checking. Let's get an update on how weather is looking for today and how traffic's moving. Matt Bren's here. Morning, Matt.
Good morning, Portia. Well, you wouldn't know right now, but we should see the sun today. We just got to wait a little bit for it. Looking at Tina's forecast, and today it is going to be mainly cloudy with periods of light snow this morning. But by this afternoon, looking at a mix of sun and cloud with a chance for flurries and northwesterly winds fairly light at 20 kilometers per hour and a high of -2. Then tonight, similar conditions, but expect more snow along parts of the coast. And it's going to be cold tonight with northwesterly winds at 30, gusting to 50, and a low of -10 overnight. Right now, -5 in Antigonish, -6 in Windsor, and -6 in the Hyderstone. And Tina will have more weather after the 6:30 news. In traffic, it's generally great out there this morning. We did have that collision on Portland Street near the exit to the Cirque. Those backups are pretty much gone now, so it looks like that's been cleared up. Other than that, as I mentioned, traffic moving just fine. A little bit busy on Herring Cove, headed towards the roundabout. St. Margaret's Bay Road, just a slight wait as you approach the roundabout, and volume on both the bridges, the McKay, McDonald, moving fine in both directions right now. So if any of this changes, hopefully not, but if you see any issues out there slowing folks down, you can give us a call on the traffic line, 902-222-3802.
Thanks, Matt. It's 12 after 8 now, and Ryan Pierce is here with some headlines. Morning, Ryan.
Hi. Police budget requests in Halifax that include a combined $3 million a year more for RCMP and municipal police to hire more employees are moving ahead after approval by the police board. Now Halifax Regional Council will look at that. There could be a future for environmentally friendly cement production in the Point Tupper area. The Cape Breton Partnership recently completed a survey about the potential, and it's now going to do a feasibility study on the so-called green cement, which could be made using local materials such as fly ash and lime. And a new text notification system launched by Nova Scotia Health earlier this week wasn't working the way it was supposed to. It's been paused indefinitely while they look into why it was sending incorrect information to some patients. More on those stories at 8:30.
Okay, thanks, Ryan. Well, it's a question that most parents and guardians of young kids grapple with. Should my child have a smartphone? And if so, when? Some advocates and experts say the answer is clear. They just shouldn't. American psychologist Jonathan Haidt shared research on this in the New York Times bestselling book, The Anxious Generation. And Haidt's book argues technology and social media have rewired children's brains, taking a heavy toll on their mental health.
When you have the depression rate going up 50 to 100%, you have the suicide rate is up 50%, in the U.S. at least. Education has been declining in America since 2012, not since COVID. So we have an enormous destruction of mental health, happiness, and education. This counts to me as one of the biggest public health emergencies we've ever had. The people who know the most about what's happening are the companies themselves. They're the only ones who have the data. And we know from all the leaks and memos that have been obtained, they know what they're doing. They see the mental health problems they're causing. So that's evidence. The perpetrators actually admit to what they're doing. That's evidence. The people who know the next most about this are the kids. And the kids see what's happening. The kids are not in denial. Gen Z is not in denial. They know that this is messing them up, and the parents all see it. See if you can find me parents who say, oh, my kid was shy and withdrawn, and then we gave her a phone and Instagram, and she really came out of her shell. I have not heard that story.
That's Jonathan Haidt, the author of The Anxious Generation, speaking to Matt Galloway on The Current. A new Canadian advocacy group, Unplugged Canada, is urging parents across the country to delay giving their children a smartphone until high school. The CBC's Thomson spoke with a local member of the group, Jenna Poste, and she has 2 young kids and lives in Hammonds Plains.
I actually started my career at BlackBerry, which was, one of the first smartphones in the world. And so I understand the device side of it. And I spent 10 years in social media working on apps that actually identify and remove harmful and threatening content. So I've kind of seen the dark side of that. And now I'm actually in the well-being space trying to actually build an app that helps people's well-being. So I feel like I've seen a lot of the positive and amazing things technology can bring, but I'm also very well aware of the harms it can bring.
What sort of efforts is the local chapter of Unplugged Canada getting into?
So we're trying to raise awareness for parents. We're trying to build that parent community and actually give people that empowerment to say yes to delaying smartphones for their kids until much later on in their childhood. And also just give them some more resources to manage it, how to have those conversations with their kids, how to have conversations with their parents.
How do you have some of those conversations? I mean, I've heard anecdotally from parents whose children are very resistant and they want a smartphone and their friends have smartphones and why can't they have a smartphone? So what do parents say in those cases?
I mean, that's where we're at. We're all in an impossible situation. Everybody has one, so they feel they have to give one to their child, or their child begs them until they feel they need to. But if we actually come together as parents and start having the conversation with your kids' friends, parents, that's where you can start in your community and say, hey, this is what I'm learning more information about this. Like, I'm concerned. Like, what are your thoughts? And try to open that conversation. I think kids need to be able to have a childhood without the need of this device. And if we just start with your own small community and start to make some change there, less people will have them and there'll be less pressure to actually have to give them one.
Do you think we're at a point now where we can say something has to change, that maybe before now it wasn't quite known, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think 2024 has been a turning point on this. I mean, with the release of the Anxious Generation book has given us a lot of more research and data. Then we've started to see the movement of the cell phone bans in schools and the restrictions in schools. That's been going across Canada. That's going across the world. We're even seeing legislation come out about trying to raise the age of social media to at least 16 in Australia, and even the UK is looking at it. So we're seeing the tide moving, and I think that's where you've seen hundreds of thousands of parents around the world coming together and saying yes to delay and starting to create these collective action movements. That this is now poised for change. I think we all kind of knew it in the pit of our stomach all along, but I think we now have enough information that says we should do it, and we have more of a support system of people talking about it and actually taking action together.
So if a parent wants to find out more information and become more informed about this topic, what do you say to them?
I would say, one, it is a long but a good read, The Anxious Generation. There's lots of other resources out there. Go to the Unplugged Canada website. There's some resources there just to, again, inform you on options like alternatives to smartphones. There's some incredible professionals out there, too, that actually give you some scripts to talk to your kids about this, talk to other parents. They dive more into the actual long-term impacts that this is having on children and their development, their academic performance, their ability to sort of hold conversations as adults. So I would say connect with Unplugged Canada if you want to get involved, if you want to learn more. Look for those sessions like we're trying to host across the country, and and try to inform yourself so you can make an informed decision for your family.
Jenna Poste lives in Hammonds Plains, and she's with the Atlantic chapter of Unplugged Canada. Ali's story's on our website now with some helpful links in it. And we're wondering, what's been your experience with cell phones and kids and that whole conversation and decision? Why do you think they should or shouldn't have them at a young age? Talkback is 1-800-582-5526. You can also email us, infomorning.halifax@cbc.ca.